Once upon a time, high up in the sunny sky lived a tiny bird with a huge dream. His name was Finch, and all he ever wanted to do was fly higher than any little bird before him. Now usually, when the wind tickled his feathers, and it was time for a game of tag with his feathered friends, Finch would giggle and flap his wings with joy. But sometimes, when he looked up at the fluffy white clouds drifting past, he couldn't help but wonder, what if he could fly up there? One day, while taking his first tentative flights, soaring and swooping around the tall trees, Finch heard some older birds gossiping nearby. "Did you see the dazzling fireworks last night?" they chirped. "Oh, how I wish I could have seen them," sang another bird. And then one wise old bird said, "You know, they say if you fly above the highest clouds, you can see the most magnificent fireworks in the whole wide world. It's called the Cloud Kingdom." As soon as he heard the word Cloud Kingdom, something inside of Finch fluttered like 1,000 wings beating at once. An adventurous spirit, curious and excited, took off in his chest. From that moment on, all Finch could think about was reaching those magical clouds and seeing the dazzling fireworks for himself. But as days passed and Finch kept practicing his flying, he realized it wouldn't be easy. Being so little made it hard for him to fly very far. And he always got tired long before he reached the clouds. To make things worse, every time Finch told his friends about his dream of reaching the Cloud Kingdom, they would just laugh and chirp, "Don't be silly, little Finny. You'll never be able to fly that high." Their words felt like heavy stones pulling at his heart, making it harder for him to keep trying. One afternoon, after yet another failed attempt to reach the clouds, Finch sat on a leaf, feeling sad and a little bit scared. All the other birds were right. Maybe he really wasn't strong enough to reach the Cloud Kingdom. Just then, a wise old bird with feathers like polished silver landed beside him. "Why the long face, little one?" she asked kindly. Taking a deep breath, Finch poured out his heart to her, telling her about his dream of reaching the Cloud Kingdom and how he felt like he'd never be able to do it. The old bird listened patiently, and when Finch was finished, she said, "Reaching the Cloud Kingdom is quite a challenge, little one, but you already have what it takes to get there. You just need to believe in yourself." Before Finch could ask her to explain, the old bird spread her wings and with a gentle push, sent him soaring into the sky. "Don't worry," she called after him. "All you need is a little bravery and a whole lot of heart." Then she added with a wink, "And maybe a few good tailwinds, too." With that, she disappeared into the clouds, leaving Finch all alone in the big, open sky. Fear threatened to overwhelm him as he looked around at the endless blue. Taking his first flight without his mom and friends felt scary and a little bit lonely. But then he remembered the old bird's words. All he needed was a little bravery and a whole lot of heart. Taking a deep breath, Finch closed his eyes tight and jumped. He flapped his wings as hard as he could and pushed his heart and soul into his first big flight. For a moment, he felt like he might actually do it. He was flying higher than he'd ever flown before, higher than any bird in his family had ever flown before. But then a sudden gust of wind almost knocked him out of the sky. Shaken but not defeated, Finch fought to keep his balance. With each flap of his wings, he reminded himself of the old bird's words. This was what it meant to be brave. And as he kept going, something amazing started to happen. The wind didn't feel scary anymore. Instead, it felt exciting, like a friendly hand pushing him along. And as he flew, he saw all sorts of funny things. There were cotton candy clouds shaped like giant ice cream cones. There were puffy white clouds that looked like friendly faces smiling down at him. And there were even some clouds that were so small and fluffy, they looked like tiny beds floating in the sky. Then suddenly, as if the sky itself was applauding his bravery. A whole bunch of playful air currents swirled around him, lifting him higher and higher until he could see the entire world beneath him. At that moment, everything the other birds had told him, everything he'd thought himself, all the doubts and fears he'd felt suddenly seemed very, very small. He had done it. He'd reached the cloud kingdom, and as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange, pink, and purple, Finch saw the most beautiful fireworks in the whole wide world. They weren't loud or sharp or scary like the ones he'd seen from the ground. Instead, they were soft and colorful and gentle, like a lullaby whispered by the stars. After the fireworks ended and the sky grew dark, Finch knew it was time to head home. As he flew back, the wise old bird was waiting for him. "Well done, little one," she said with a gentle smile. "You showed great bravery on your first flight to the Cloud Kingdom." Then she added, "Remember, bravery isn't about being fearless. Sometimes it's scary, but that's okay because when you do brave things, you discover just how strong you are." As Finch flew back towards home, his heart soared with happiness. He couldn't wait to tell his mom and friends all about his amazing adventure. When he got back, he landed on his favorite branch and started to tell his friends all about his trip to the Cloud Kingdom and how he'd seen the most beautiful fireworks ever. His friends listened with wide eyes as he described everything he'd seen and experienced. When he was finished, they all burst into applause. "Wow, Finny, you really are the bravest little bird we know," they cheered. And then one of his friends asked, "Can we come with you on your next trip to the Cloud Kingdom?" Finch smiled. He knew that reaching the Cloud Kingdom was a challenge, but now he also knew that he didn't have to do it alone. Together, he and his friends could face any adventure that came their way. And that's the story of Finch and his first flight to the Cloud Kingdom. Because sometimes all it takes is a little bravery and a whole lot of heart to discover the hero inside of you. The end.